everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. And be careful because when I do it that way, I start turning my camera around the opposite way, and everybody can see the daycare center that's behind over that part of the camera where my babies play. Hey Prescott. Let me start sending the live. Be right back. Hey. Oh, you are early. Omar, you are so early. Oh, we starting early today. Hold on. I hope it lets me add you. See, here we go again with the turning around the camera. Here we go.
Yo,
Can you hear me?
yeah, what's happening?
Why is I think you have your camera the
Yeah,
opposite
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah, turn it around so we could both be on top. Like
Man, I might just have to hold it then. What's happening?
perfect, perfect, perfect. How are you? How you doing? You look good.
I
You don't look
appreciate
like
you.
the
Look
rest of
great
these
as
people in
well.
the quarantine. Thank you.
You
Thank you.
know,
How you been
just
holding
gotta.
up?
I've been good. I can't complain, honestly. You know, it's been a good time for me. So it is what it is.
So I want to
How
introduce
about
you,
you?
everybody. Well, I'm holding on day by day, day by day, holding on.
Yeah.
So I want to let everybody know who you are. This is my friend. This is Omar. Omar Salmon, working artist. Aren't
Yes.
you a coach? You teach coaching acting classes, right?
Yes, I do. I do. Um, I started out teaching for my teacher, Susan Batson and Carl
Mm-hmm.
Ford. I was interning there for a while, and then after I gave up the internship, they asked me if I wanted to teach. So I did. I took the job on, and it went from there. You know, I've been teaching for a few years, and I branched off and I did my own thing. I do my own thing now, so it worked out like that.
So how you got bit by the acting bug? Because I don't remember you acting.
Yeah, it's
Is that
funny,
something
right?
that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, sort of. I did when I was younger. I wanted to do it, but I just never took the jump, right? But then my sister had a friend, and one time we were going to, I think it was a Ludacris concert, and she was like, "Why don't you get into modeling?" I was like, "Nah, I can't do the modeling thing, right? Like I don't feel like I have the look for that." And she was like, "What about acting? I pay my bills like that." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, I pay all my bills like that." I said, "Okay." So then she told me where to go, what to do, what to sign up for, and I did that. Um, Long story short, when I got into it, it was not paying the bills like she said. Um, yeah, it just wasn't. At that particular time, it wasn't. Started from the ground up was real hard. So I started doing like background stuff, and you know that was the worst. They treat you like straight trash. Um,
Yes, I do know that.
yeah, so I started doing that. But then one time I was on set, and then I was watching like the main actor do his thing or whatever, and I was like, I don't belong back here. You know what I mean? Like I need to be doing what he's doing. And then there was a guy on there. He was like, yeah, you should start doing some plays, man. Like you look like you're really into it. You should start doing some plays. So I looked up some plays, and I did my first play. And from there, after doing my first play, um, I just fell in love with it. You know what I mean? I was really shy on stage, but I just really loved it. I loved the feeling of it. I loved acting. You know what I mean? So from there, I just started doing like films and stuff like that. I started out doing student films. Then from student films, I went on to other short films, and then independent feature films, and then TV shows, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So what was your first big gig that you booked?
First big gig. What was the first one? Probably the night of. That probably was the biggest. at first. It was the night of. It was a one-liner. It was real cool. It was an HBO limited series,
Mm-hmm.
and it dropped like 3 years after that. We actually filmed it. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Production
That
is one thing. I don't think people understand the real business behind acting. I think a lot of people, once they see you on TV, they're thinking that you're making like millions of dollars, but it's
yeah,
definitely a lot like that. And this is
nah,
coming from a parent of a working acting child, and it's the
yeah,
same. It's the same game.
yeah,
Working actors are working actors.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was that, and then from that, I just went on. I started doing other things. I started getting more auditions, and got a manager, got an agent, things like that. Things started rolling. Then I started doing commercial work. Um, that's not what I
Mm,
wanted to do, but those paid the bills. You know what I mean? Commercial work
definitely.
will definitely pay the bills for you. You know what I mean? So once I started getting all the commercials, things started really taking off.
So then, like, who was like? So you said that did you have an acting coach or did you have an agent? Like, how did you go ahead and seek out those things?
Oh man, well, to get, I had an acting coach, right? Well, I still do. I still consider them my coaches and teachers now. But I had an acting coach um, years after. But I got the manager first, right? I was starting freelancing with the manager. He would only send me out like once in a while. It was the worst thing ever. And that's another thing, right? You have to find a manager that actually works for you, because a lot of them will just take you on and shelf you. So he took me on and I was
Right.
shelved. He sent me out on one gig after I complained after like 6 months. It was one audition. And then after that, I didn't hear from him again for a while. So after a while, I was like, listen, I'm not waiting for anyone to do anything for me. So I started doing these things like showcases that you'll go and perform for managers and agents.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have in a lot of the amount of time to
Mm-hmm.
actually do it. Once I started doing that, that's how I got my manager and agent. And then my teacher, she actually used to have something at her studio. It was called Industry Night, and they would have guests come in and watch you perform. And that's how I actually got my first manager. They saw me, they loved me. He told me to come down, and then they signed me. We were going on break for like 2 weeks because the industry was shutting down for like 2 weeks. And then when
Mm-hmm.
I went in to see him on like January 5th, I performed for him and his partner. And then they said, let me talk to my partner real quick. And I came back in. He was like, yo, we want to sign you. So then, yeah, it was history from there. After that, I started working with them, and I had my agent, my manager, things like that.
So you kind of just like fell into this and then like fell in love with it as you
Yeah,
continue to go on.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so you've been staying consistent with it.
Once I hit that stage, you know what I mean? It was just different. The feeling was different. And I was like, I need to keep doing this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So then I ran with it. That was it.
How do you get into character though? Like I know, like I think an actor, his name is Michael. He said like sometimes when you're going into each character, you have to like kind of decompress a little
Yeah,
bit. Like how do you get into each character? Because you're playing different people each time you're playing a role.
yeah, right. Well, because I know like the acting community would like destroy me if I gave too much, because we pay a lot of money for this thing, right? But I would say this. Um, you just have to do a lot of homework, right? You get information on a page, or you get a script, and then you have to really read it, dissect it like a detective, as my teacher would say. One of my teachers would say, you have to really be a detective, and then see the perspective of this person, even sometimes through their life, through their eyes,
Okay.
and you don't really want to have any judgment on them when you're really trying to build this person, because if you have a judgment, then you can't play, or you can't really invest into the character. So you really want to just try to be a detective, dissect their life, and why they make certain decisions, and just do a lot of homework from there.
Hmm.
Once you do a lot of homework, then you give up yourself, and then you make things happen. You know what I mean?
So who would you like look up to as like an actor? Like who did you look up to as actors? Like, and I mean, before you became an actor and then
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Well, it was always Denzel, right? Before I became an actor, he's like the guy for
Right.
every young black dude, right? Like he's the reason why I even thought I could possibly even do it. So Denzel for sure.
He has
I
great
looked up to him
range.
then. Yeah, yeah. And I looked up to him then. I look up to him now. I admire him now. I even have more appreciation for him now, especially after knowing the work and what it entails. Um, so it's Denzel, Daniel Day-Lewis, Um, Before, who else was it? Jeffrey Wright. I love Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, I like Jeffrey
Yo,
Wright too.
yeah, I think Jeffrey Wright is definitely underrated. Um, but
Definitely. I don't think people remember he played Basquiat. Nobody remembers that. That was
yeah,
definitely like a really, really good role that he played. And I think that a lot of people forget that he was one
yeah,
of the, like, everyone loves art now, but everybody forgets he played that role of Basquiat. It was
exactly.
him.
He is a beast, and he just doesn't get the recognition.
And
But
he played Martin Luther King.
no, no. You're not talking
Who did
about
he
Zelda.
play? I feel like he did.
No, Selma was, well, maybe he
No,
played
not in Selma. He played him in another.
in
Not
another thing.
Selma.
Yeah,
He
because
played him
I didn't see that one.
in another, like, I think an HBO. Yeah, like an HBO. Yeah, like an
Okay,
HBO
okay.
thing. Not like a mainstream. Not Selma, but he played him in
Yeah, yeah,
another.
yeah,
He definitely played him. Like he plays
yeah.
like
Yeah.
really good parts.
Yeah,
He
yo,
plays good
he's
people.
solid, man. Like he's solid. I don't even understand like how he doesn't get the recognition, right? But yeah, but now, did you ask me about now, right?
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
is
So
it
now,
still the same people?
yeah, well, Jeffrey Wright, of course, Denzel, yeah, but now I have appreciation. Like I said, Daniel Day-Lewis, um, Michael Fassbender. I'm a big fan of his. Um, then
Mm-hmm.
who else? Tom Hardy. I love Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Mahershala Ali. I'm a big fan of his as well. Yeah, those are the main. Idris Elba. Like I like each of them for
Yeah, they
different
have
things,
range.
right?
Those are good actors that have a lot of range. You don't see them play like the same role. You know, no shade to Terrence Howard, but we already know what Terrence Howard is about to give us as soon as he get on there. But I
But you
love
see
him
him.
though. But it works for him though. That definitely works
But
for
he
him.
does
That's
what
his
he does.
angle. You know what I mean? Yeah, we
Exactly.
love it though. However you show up and you do it. But those are definitely actors that you named that definitely have range. I've seen them play like, you know, different types of roles throughout this industry, and they definitely deserve their, you know, their flowers while they're here,
Right,
especially
right.
Jeffrey Wright.
I
So if
agree.
someone was gonna make a movie of you, who would you want to play you?
Who would I want to play? Um,
Don't say Denzel.
like I know he doesn't look anything like me. I know, not Denzel. I would probably have to be Mahershala, right? I know he doesn't look anything like me, but he has,
Right.
I believe, a similar energy that I
Hmm.
appreciate, that I think he would hit on the head. You know what I mean? And definitely watching the roles that he has played and know what he can play, I think he would probably do me the most justice.
So do you consider yourself an artist, creative, actor? Because there's just so many different titles to people nowadays. So like an actor is just like one box. Do you consider yourself a creative?
Absolutely. Like, and I think a lot actors are artists, right?
Hmm.
We are literally painting a picture for you on screen. You
Right.
get me? So how can we not? We're telling you life through
A
someone else's
lens.
words and through a lens. You get what I'm saying? So absolutely, we're an artist. I think they don't consider um, actors as a mainstream artist, but that's just blasphemous, right? I think if anyone or any profession is an artist, it would be an acting. It's probably the hardest thing in the world. I wouldn't advise anyone to do it if it's not something you really want to do. It's crazy.
So how is it for you being like a creative when you're expressing it to other people outside of the acting world? Do you, because I know you have friends outside of
Yeah,
what you do.
yeah,
Like, how is it? Because I mean, as a creative, you have to be more in touch with your and more in tune with yourself, don't you?
yeah. So it's funny, right? I try not to because I hear other actors talk, and it even annoys me. Actors are weird. Can I curse on it? Right?
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
I know, right? But actors are weird as fuck, right? Like
Right.
they're just weird. They talk weird, they act weird, they do weird things. They're just spacey, and I try not to talk like that. I only talk to people who actually ask the questions because if you try to, like anything else, you try to like impose your stuff on them, they're gonna be like, you
Right.
know what I mean? Kind of, they're gonna push off. But yeah, I talk to people about it, but I don't force it on them. You know what I mean? Did that answer your question?
No, I just asked you like how hard is it for as a creative? I mean, sometimes creatives struggle outside of their creative realm. But I
yeah,
think that maybe based on when you came into the acting world, maybe you were a little bit more into who you were before you became an actor. Most actors
yeah,
are introverted. Maybe
yeah,
that's why they seem weird because they're introverted but they shine on stage or they shine behind the camera. His name is Keith, the one who plays. He's been playing in everything. The one who played in The Photograph.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I
Stanfield.
like him. Keith Stanfield. Yes, yes.
He's an introvert in
Yeah.
person, but on camera, it does. You would never know that he was like that.
Yeah, I really like him as an actor, right? I think he's a
Hmm.
weird dude in person.
Yes, my daughter worked with him on a scene, like in a movie.
Yeah.
And he definitely was a little bit. I thought, I don't know. I mean, I guess you think one way, but then you actually see these people. So for you to be an actor and so warm and comfortable, it's a little different. That's why I said, do you struggle as a creative being more in touch with yourself? Talking to people outside of the artist realm.
I do, right? Because going through the process, at least the process that I've learned, right? Like, especially like with a certain method of acting, you learn to become in tune with yourself, and you learn so much about yourself, and you learn so much about people and how they act and why they act the way they act. So you're constantly studying people all the time. And when you're telling someone something and you can see it, right? Because especially as a coach too, I'm trained to look at everything from the outside in and the inside out. I can tell why you're doing certain things, and it can become scary for certain people. You know what I mean? They don't
Give me
like
an
it.
example. I want to know. Give me an example.
Like if I'm looking at you
Right.
and I'm telling you something, right? And we're in an argument and you respond to me a certain kind of way. I'm telling you, no, you're only saying that because this happened and you're feeling like this. And if, no, I'm not, they get defensive. But then later on in the conversation or after the conversation, they'd be like, you know what, you were right. I was feeling like that. I just wasn't vulnerable enough to tell you. You know what I mean? We have a problem. The people on the outside world just have a problem being vulnerable, right? Actors, we're trained to be vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable in order to become someone else or to play the life of someone else. Because we have to be in tune with ourselves. Other people on the outside, they aren't really vulnerable. You know what I mean? So it really does affect interactions with people, and more so in relationships, because with people, I know when to stop. But if I'm in a relationship with you, it can become overwhelming because no one wants to hear all the time that they're doing something for a certain reason. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to be right. It's an ego kind of thing in a relationship, right? So it becomes overwhelming. Sometimes I have to find myself and I just have to say, okay, or just like, shut up.
Well, I mean, so that's been like a reoccurring theme, like all month.
Yeah.
Vulnerability, being vulnerable. So what does that look like for you? You said you have to be vulnerable, and when you're acting, because you have to be open. So you have to be in tune with yourself. So what does that mean? What, taking accountability for certain things, or just how do you open up? Like,
absolutely,
I'm asking for myself. Asking for myself.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I just think it's you just have to be truthful. Vulnerability equals honesty, right? And once you're honest about what it is you're feeling, what it is you really want to say, or your feelings, basically your feelings, right? If you're hurt about something, if you get defensive about it, now you can put me on a defense mode, and now we're arguing about something that could have been totally avoided if you would have just been honest from the very beginning, because then I could have been empathetic to your feelings, right? But no one really wants to be vulnerable, because we think that if we're vulnerable to something, someone's going to take advantage of us. But when you're in a relationship, that's not usually, if this is a partnership and we're really trying to work, you shouldn't feel like that. You get me? And if you do feel like that, then you shouldn't be in a relationship, I don't think. You know what I mean? It's just you just got to go work on some stuff. You know what I mean? Or you have to wait till you put in a situation where you feel safe enough.
That's a real moment right there. I mean, I definitely, people can take away from that. Like, people come in situations guarded, and I guess as an actor, you really, if you're a guarded person, you're not going to be able to tap into your character as much as you need to, and it'll show on screen that you're being guarded.
Yeah, and it'll come off as you're just playing an idea of something. You know what I mean? An idea of something is bullshit. It's not the truth. You could have a good idea about how something works, but until you're actually in it and you know how that feels, you won't be able to really live that thing. You know what I mean? So your vulnerability is the most is like the best form of intimacy that you could possibly have in a relationship or in real life.
I think so too. I agree. I mean, I know it's hard, and it's hard for all of us, but
it is.
It's a different feeling. I mean, it definitely is.
Yeah.
So Is it hard for you to just to watch regular TV now? What are you binge watching now?
Oh
Can
man.
you look at it as for what it is, or do you look at it and dissect it and be like, that was terrible? They could have did a little bit better with that. Why did she say it like that? I would have waited for that.
Yeah, yeah. It at one point it was really hard. I could not deal, right?
Right.
But then after a while, I just had to say, I'm on the other side as well, right? So I know what that actor is struggling with. So then I would just say, I gotta watch it for what it is, opposed to judging everything that they're doing. But if I'm doing it to learn something, and sometimes it's even weird, I could look at it and be in two minds. I could be critical about what I'm seeing, and then my feelings could be involved at the same time, right? But it took me a while to actually get to that moment. But it used to be just judging, picking it apart. And then I was like, you can't be judging these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had to have some kind of empathy for them. And then now I'm able to enjoy it. But some things are just so bad I can't watch.
So what do you binge watching on? I mean, the city, we're in phase 3 now. So we're opening up a little. This is different. I mean, every time you wrap your mind around it, something else is happening. And so you have to wrap your mind around the next thing, and then something else is happening. So I don't know how long we're going to keep going on this spiral of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I know that, I don't know how often you've been home, but what are you doing on your time off? But are you binge watching anything right now?
I binge watched everything that I really wanted to watch already, right? And I'm gonna get back to the pandemic thing, but I've binge watched everything that I want to watch already. I'm a big Ozark fan.
I never got into that. I don't know
Didn't-
why. I couldn't. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I'm not saying I can't.
Yeah, no.
I just didn't get into it. Like everybody talks about it, and I'll probably watch it when everybody stops talking about it.
Yeah. I get it, but I'm a big Ozark fan. I love that show. I think the actors on there are great. One thing I just rewatched just now was Top Boy. I don't know if you watched that. It's a UK.
And I watch all TV, and I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it yet.
You gotta watch it. It's like on Netflix.
I know it's on that.
Yeah, saw them, picked it up, but it was dope. Like I rewatched that. I'm trying to think, what else did I watch? And then I just watch movies. I watch a lot. I'm a big movie guy. I'm not really a TV person, but I'm a big movie guy.
So what have you been doing since the beginning of how did this affect you? Like, I know it affected a lot of work. Like my daughter was set to do work, and then that was it. Like the quarantine happened, the pandemic happened, everything got really shut down, and everything is just kind of like, I don't even know when it's gonna, if we can, like what's gonna happen. So what have you been doing?
Well, one thing I would say, like, you asked how it affected me as well, right? For me, it's been good, man. Like, I appreciate the time so much. Like, I'm a homebody anyway, right? So I love being home. I don't like going out like that. I only go out once in a while. Only if I'm in a relationship, like I'll be going out. Other than that, I don't. Or unless it's to a function in the summertime. But I could get over that.
Right.
Yeah, the only thing that it's really affected was the money, right? Like as far as the revenue coming in. But even then, I couldn't allow that to stress me, right? You just find other ways of making money and doing what you can to stay afloat. But the time has been really good for me. I get to learn more about myself. I've gotten to learn more about myself. I've reread books that I've already read and saw things in there that I haven't seen before. So I'm on that. And then I read a lot. I watch a lot of movies. I work out a lot. You know what I mean? I'm outside. Just, now they open back up the parks and things like that. So been working out, eating, of course. At one time I was just stuffing my face. But, I'm outside. I'm working. I'm just having a good time. I'm just really getting in tune with myself. It helped me see things differently and take certain things out of my life, bring certain things into my life. So it was good. I enjoyed it. Other than the money slowing down, and I'm not even stressing that. You know what I mean? So I'm all right.
If you don't mind me asking, what are you taking out of your life?
Just without getting into too much detail, just certain things, right? If I found even certain activities didn't serve me,
right.
I just don't engage. Certain conversations don't serve me. I don't have them. You know what I mean? It's really a waste of my time, especially because I have to sit here and deal with myself for so long. I really know what bothers me. So if there's a type of conversation that I don't want to have, I'm not having. Like if you're somebody that wants to talk to me and you want to talk about a person, I don't want to talk to you about it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Don't talk to me about it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm not into gossip, but now it aches me to hear somebody gossiping, right? So that's something that I've taken out. And then just even like people like this person who holds certain kind of conversations or do certain kind of things, it's not for me. I don't want you around me. I don't need you around me. And there's no love lost. It's just you don't serve me and I don't serve you. So just cut the tie. When I see you, what's up, and we keep it pushing.
So what are you adding to your life? That you're taking away? What are you adding?
Yeah, just more, definitely more books, and then more prayer, a lot more time to myself. You know what I mean? I think the prayer has really been helping me. It's like a form of meditation, right? It brings clarity. Before I wasn't praying, I would pray out of obligation before. Now I pray out of desire. You know what I mean? So it's really changed that for me. So I feel like it's helped me get closer to at least God. You know what I mean? And myself too. So that's that. Yeah.
So what is not to be in your business, but what is your faith?
Yeah. Well, I'm a real spiritual dude, right? But I follow Islam, right? I've been following that since I was about 14. So that's more than half my life. I'm not gonna say my age, right? But that's more than half my life. But I've been heavy on that.
Right. So you did Ramadan during the quarantine?
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I know like it affected Ramadan.
Yeah, but it was great.
It affected church, but I mean, it affected anything that was a large gathering. So, I mean, you had to make do with what you had to do.
Yeah. It was great for me though. It was great.
So you was able to be more spiritual. So when the world opens back up, are you going to take everything you learned about yourself and apply it?
Absolutely. The dope thing is this, right? Most of the things that I've learned were things that I was aware of before. Now I just had to actually sit with it and deal a little bit more. You know what I mean? So I was trying to apply it before, but now there is no life without it now, right? So now moving forward, if I don't apply it, then I'm just going to be miserable. So I have to apply it moving forward, unless I won't be all right with myself. You know.
Well, how do you apply it? What does applying look like?
Just staying true to yourself. That's it. Like if there's something, like I said, just for example, something that I don't want to talk about. If usually when we get out around people, we're at a function, and let's say it's like 6, 7 of us having a conversation, and then now the conversation changes and it's on people. If I can't change the conversation, then I know to change my environment, right? Because you got to understand, like, association breeds assimilation, right? If I don't conquer an environment in a certain amount of time, the environment is going to conquer me. So if I'm not able to change it, I'm going to get sucked into the conversation. And in order for me not to get sucked into the conversation, I'm going to have to leave. So I have to honor myself and leave. I can't say to myself, they're going to look at me weird, or they're going to look at me as antisocial. That's not my business. I don't really care. I got to honor what I feel and take care of myself.
So are you basically setting healthy boundaries for yourself?
Absolutely.
And in all areas of your life? Some areas of your life?
Yeah, I'm working on it in all areas of my life, right? All areas. So yeah, I just have to stay true and honor myself. You know what I mean?
And how hard is it for you to be accountable for yourself?
You know what's so funny, right? I was just talking to someone the other day. It's not hard for me, right? And I think people have a problem when people are accountable for certain things, right? Am I too dark?
You are getting kind of dark, but I mean,
I just realized
I'm like, it's a little dark.
I just realized that, right?
It's a little.
Yeah. I realized, like, I'm really good with holding myself accountable. You know what I mean? Because one thing I don't like is for someone to point out my problem. So I try to check myself before someone else can check myself.
Mm-hmm.
Check me. And people don't like that. Like, I would get into a conversation or argument with someone, or I'll get into a thing with someone, and I'll be like, listen, it was wrong. What I did was wrong. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. You know what I mean? But I know moving forward, I shouldn't do it. And then after that, they'll go on the conversation and they'll be like, yeah, but what you did was wrong. I'm like, I said that. No, but I want to tell you that you're wrong. What do you mean you want to tell me that I'm wrong? Like,
I
I was
think
like,
that's
so
probably because it feels like you're being dismissive. It's not open for dialogue if you shut me down and already tell me what it is. You shut down the conversation.
yeah, but this is what I'm saying, right? And I think maybe that is, but if you see that I'm genuinely being like holding myself accountable, right? Because I caught myself and I checked myself, then I have to
Right.
ask myself, why do you want to prove me wrong? That means you want to have something over me. You know what I
Or
mean?
maybe I want to tell you how it made me feel.
You can do that, and I'm open to that. So you
So
tell
tell
me.
you how I feel, but but don't tell you that you was wrong because you already accepted that fact that you was wrong.
Yeah, no, tell me how you feel. Like I feel like you could say I felt like you were being a sucker, and I'll be like, yeah, you were right. I was being a sucker. They don't even like that, right? Like you do that. I'm like, am I not supposed to admit these things? I'm supposed to say, oh man, but I don't think I'm a sucker. So you could continue to beat me down. That's an ego thing,
Okay,
I
I
believe.
mean that's fair. That's fair. Now I gather what you're saying
Hmm.
from both parts. Some people don't want to be checked, especially if you're aware of it. It's like I'm bringing it to light, accept the fact that accept my apology and I accept my
You don't even
my
have to accept it.
accountability. Well, listen, I'm wrong. I'm letting you
Yeah,
know I was wrong, and
yeah,
we can't we don't continue to beat me up because I already let you know that I was wrong, and
yeah.
that's
Why do you? But I gotta wonder, why do you want to beat me up? You get me? If why do yeah? Why, if I admitted that I was wrong and I'm hurt about this thing, why do you want to beat me up?
It's
That's
just
just
easy to be negative instead of being positive.
exactly, and
It's
that I
easy to
don't
hold on to the pain of a situation than to let it go.
exactly.
And so
So
even though you're basically what you admitting what you did wrong, you've let it go, and I'm still holding on to it. So one of us
exactly,
is holding on to it. So I'm not. You let go of the rope, and I'm still holding the rope. And now you're walking away from me, and I'm holding the rope. And now I'm like, okay, so that's it.
exactly, right. And I've been in therapy for like the last 2 years.
Mhm.
Exactly, and I've been in therapy for like the last 2 years, and I've come to realize when people do that, that's toxic. Because if
Right.
you want to beat me down, right, then there's something wrong with you that you need that I can't fulfill. You get me? So then that I also have to remove myself from a situation like that. You get me?
That's
So
fair. I mean, I
yeah.
mean, I mean, it's fair. I do see both sides of it. It's fair. I mean, it's a double sided coin. Like
I
from
get
one
it.
person that said, "Listen, I said what it was. Let's move forward." And another person is like, "But I'm not on your time.
I'm not over
I'm
it.
not. I'm not over it. I'm not you. I'm not able to let go of it, and I'm not able to accept what you're trying to do right now. I'm not able to receive it yet
You're
at
right.
the moment.
Right. And I
At the
respect.
moment."
But then I say this, I respect that and I could accept that. But then take your time to accept it, take your time to deal with it, take your time to sit in it. Why do you need to beat me down?
I don't think anybody's able to say I'm not able to receive what you just gave because
Because
they're
you're
not
not
understand. They don't understand that they're not able to receive it. Just frustration and anger balled up into one. I get it. I mean, it's
it's
fair.
toxic.
It's fair. It's
Yeah.
fair. I guess it's fair. It's fair. So I mean, you have two sons, right?
Yeah.
One son, two sons. One.
I have a son, yeah.
Okay, so you have a son, and
Yeah.
so what conversations are you having with your sons about everything that's happening around the world right now?
Um, it's funny, right? Like my son's 10. So when I speak to him, um, we've had these conversations, we've been having these conversations for years, right?
Hmm.
So now that these things are actually happening, it's no surprise to him. He's like, "Oh, Dad, this is what you were talking about, or this is
Hmm.
what you spoke to me about," right? And then I'm like, "Yeah." So he's like, "This is happening because of X, Y, Z," and or could you explain such? And I will. So the conversation about racism and black people and their place in the world and our history beyond slavery, I've had all of these conversations with him already. You know what I mean? So anything now that he wants to ask, he just asks. You
I
get me?
mean, is he afraid? You know what I mean? Or like with all the killing that's happening to black people, is he a little bit uneasy?
I think he is more afraid of it for me, opposed for himself, right? Because now he moved to Panama with his mom, right?
Hmm.
So he's out there, so he doesn't really have to deal um, as much. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, as how it is over here in the States. So he's more afraid of it for me. Like if he calls, he checks on me to make sure I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's more so he's seeing it's a lot more to him of the older people, even though some of them, Tamir Rice is 12 or was 12 when it happened to him, and Trayvon Martin was like 16. they were older to him at the time. You know what I mean? So he's seeing it as a grown person thing, opposed to kids. But yeah, he does get afraid more so for me opposed to anyone else. You know.
Have you been able to do any of the marching or take part of it? Or are you like straight up social distancing?
No, I'm not even straight up social distancing. Right? See, the thing, I respect the marching, but I'm not necessarily for it. Right? But I think I do respect it because I do think you have, just like a body, you have body parts that do have certain functions. You know what I mean? So I don't do the marching because I feel like I feel like it's just been done forever, and it hasn't changed anything. So I'm more of like on the economic side of
Okay, that's fair. You need
more,
another course of action. We need to make another plan.
right. I think once you stop the dollar, stop spending your money with them, then now we could incite change, right? Because even back in the day when we boycotted the buses and things like that, the change came with the dollar. You know what I mean? Martin Luther King, he spoke about economic change. Elijah Muhammad spoke about economic change. When people start to talk about these kind of things, then they get worried. Then they want to
implement
give us some
change.
type of change. You know what I mean? So marching I don't believe is going to get it done. I believe it can get us something, but not the real change that we really want. You get me?
So how do we spread our dollar around in the Black community? Because the dollar only lasts what, 6 minutes in the Black community? I think that's the number. 6 minutes.
I think it's like 18, right? It's
it's minutes.
amount.
It's not even an hour. It's like less than a minute. It's less than 30 minutes. Less than a half an hour that the dollar is staying in the Black community. How do you continuously buy Black?
Yeah, well, you have to look for it, right? And especially we have social media nowadays. Hashtag Black owned, Black business. Those type of things come up, and you could find out like that, right? Like, oh, this is something that I need, and it's in my areas in Brooklyn. I may have to travel a little bit further, but I got to give this man my dollar, right? Or I have to give this woman my dollar. Also, word of mouth. We're on social media. Everyone is promoting something. We have people who do that. For the ladies here, we have people who do that. You know what I mean? Acting, we have coaches who do that. You know what I mean? There's Black folks who creating content all the time. You just work within your circle. Like, we're everywhere. If you don't see us, then you don't want to see us. You get me?
But I wonder, and this is just a real question, because I mean, manufacturing companies, do we have any Black owned manufacturing companies? Because that's key, because it can be Black. I can own it. I can get something. I can have a product. I can sell it to you. But where did I get the product from? Did I go to China to get it? And did I bring it over here? Because I think if you could get a Black manufacturing company, then we're golden. Absolutely. At that point. But I don't really know of any Black owned manufacturing company, because every manufacturing company is in China. The t-shirts that you wear is from overseas, and Black company is putting their name on it, but we don't even have our own raw material.
Right.
So it's given. You got to give the dollar to somebody, and I guess re-rotate it back into the community.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm not really good at math.
No, you're good. You're great at math, right? I think what you're saying absolutely makes sense. The thing about that is, I think that's the one thing that is missing. You know what I mean? But then at the same time, you got to crawl before you walk, right? So we don't own the manufacturing companies yet, but as we continue to rotate the dollars and become more wealthy within ourselves, then we can purchase manufacturing companies, or we can own our own manufacturing company. We'll get
there. So who's moving to China?
But why do we need to move to China, right? Like,
so where can the manufacturing company be at?
Okay, so why can't you manufacture something right here?
It's hard to manufacture it in the U.S. We don't have any raw material.
So then, what do
everything is in the U.S.? I don't know. I'm asking you. I hope you know.
I don't have necessarily that answer, but now.
No, I'm just saying, like, those are things to think about. We don't have any. America doesn't have any raw materials. Period. Like, we're in the USA. We don't have any raw material. But I'm just saying, like, for example, I work for a company and we outsourced in Mexico. But in Mexico, there wasn't Mexicans in Mexico that was making this stuff. It was Koreans that spoke Spanish in Mexico that ran the factories, that made the fabric, that made the suits, that came and gave them back to America. So I used to work for a student company. I'm not even gonna put their name out there. I used to work for this student company, and I believe that each suit in America we charge $475, $499. but I think it costs maybe like $25 to make in Mexico.
Mm.
And there was it was a Korean based company, and the Korean moved, and he lived in Mexico, and he ran the factory in Mexico, and
Yeah.
he spoke Spanish. He didn't, I mean, he spoke Korean, but he spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
And when we would call to check on something in the factory in Mexico, he'll be speaking Spanish to the Mexican workers, Korean to the Korean people there, and then speaking English to us. And I was like, I just feel
He's
like he's
working
doing
that thing.
something a little crazy. But that was how we were able to get the materials here. I mean, it's black people everywhere, but I don't know. We don't.
But that's a good I don't have the answer to that, right? But that's a good question, and I think that's something that we do need to look into. You know what I mean? But then we have to just ask ourselves, what can we do now, right? And then, because you got to make the best of what you got, you can't complain about what you got, right? So we do have to, for now, and I do think what you said is absolutely 110% right. Because now I think about it, I'm like, damn, that's crazy, right? But we got to make the best of it now in order for it to circulate in our community. When we get the dollar, if we did have to get it from outsourcing China, and I think, you know what, that's dope, right? Because I know this girl who I was dating at one point. She's like a big, like, she has her own clothing shop on social media. She when this whole pandemic thing hit, she was like, yo, what am I gonna do? I get my stuff from China. You know what I mean? So
See what
it
I'm
makes,
saying?
yeah. So it's a great point.
Black owned company, Chinese source material. Because I can get all the lip glosses in the world and say, buy my product, but it's really not my product. And I had to outsource it from over there. So that's why I said, who's moving to China to go open up the Chinese manufacturing company over there? Which one of us is moving to China, or which African is in China that's going to be able to open up the manufacturing? Or somebody had said in the comments, look into manufacturing companies in Africa.
That would work, right?
That would work.
Yeah, we have a lot of us in Africa, and then we have a lot of.
But then, what's the web base for us to get there? That's the thing. We
say,
need to be able to digitally get it. And AliExpress is in China, but then, who is from Africa?
I agree. It's
Where
a
my
lot
people
to
at?
into.
Where my people at? I got some African friends. Get y'all people online. Like, what's going on? Get your people to give us the stuff out there.
I think that's that you're hitting it on the head. I think that's a great question, right? I never even thought of that. So I'm just to be honest, I never even thought of that. But what I can say is what I do have the answer to now is working with what we have now. You know what I mean? But what you brought up was absolutely just opened my eyes. But for now, to circulate the dollars, because think about it, even the Korean out here, but even though it's, of course, he's getting it from his own people, the Korean out here had to get his stuff outsourced as well. The Jew out here had to get his stuff outsourced as well. Then when it's out here, now they circulate it within their community, right? So when we get it, we have to get it and then circulate it within our community. You buy within your own, you know what I mean? Instead of going to that Korean shop, when there's certain lots that are vacant, we could buy up these lots or buy up this land, and then that's our land. We can have grow our own fruits and vegetations and things like that. We don't have to go to a Korean shop anymore. Sometimes I hate going in there because they mistreat us, but I have to go in there, right? They just throw the money. Hey, I'm like, I'm not coming back here, but then I'm going to the one next door. You know what I mean?
I just want a juice. I just need juice. I don't want to. Why do I get treated this way? You want to go somewhere where you feel warm and welcome. Because I'm spending my dollar, I should be appreciated a little bit better.
Exactly. They all don't like me, right? But I'm just what I'm going to do. So, and then they're going to circulate the dollar between them anyway, so they're going to get my dollar regardless.
But they know how to all live together too.
Absolutely.
They're going to always live. They'll live on top of each other, and they'll own this whole block. We always want our own. We don't want to stick. We don't.
Crab and barrel mentality, right? But
but I need space. I don't want all of us to live in a house like this. I mean, I guess it's for a common goal, yeah.
But see what I'm saying? In order to achieve something, right, there has to be some sort of sacrifice. There's nothing good that's going to come from not sacrificing. If you don't sacrifice, then you're going to just look out for self. But if you really want progress, there are things that some of us are going to have to give up. You know what I mean? Like some of our parents gave up their dreams so we could pursue ours. They had to make a sacrifice, you know what I mean, for the greater good. And it's the same thing now. We have to make a sacrifice in order for our children to have something later on. We may not enjoy it, right? But they will. Martin Luther King said he wasn't going to see the mountain top, but we will. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's the same thing. We just have to stop being so selfish and stingy. You know what I mean?
I think we should focus more on self-care and not being selfish.
Right.
Self-care is preservation, but selfish is a different type of
Absolutely.
different aspect. So I always ask everybody to like drop a gem, like free game. That's what I call it, free game. If it's anything that you can say to any of the Black men that's maybe listening, Black women, just drop a gem, something that comes across your mind when you think about us as a whole. Like what you wanted to say, drop a gem on us.
I don't know if it's a gem, right? But the first thing that popped up to my mind was empathy, right? Like we need to be more empathetic to each other, right? Because at the end of the day, especially, and I'm talking about Black folks, right? Because I'm Black, but at the end of the day, we're in the struggle together. I know a lot of the times we separate the struggle. We say Black women go through this and Black men will go through this. The fact of the matter is we're both broken, right? We both were broken by the same people and by the same thing. I think we need to be more understanding, more empathetic to why this person is acting the way they're acting, or why they're doing what they're doing. And then it'll give us more patience in dealing with our Black women and then the Black man. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I was in the park the other day and some dude said, he was like, y'all talk about me? So I laughed. Right? Like he just came out of nowhere. He was like, yo, y'all talking about me? And I said, like I laughed. He goes, what you smiling about? I said, what? He said, what you smiling for? I said, because I can. Then he walks over and he comes up to me. So then, I stood up to him and I stepped up to him and we had some words or whatever, right? And I was gonna hit him. But
this is in the pandemic?
Yeah.
You had a mask on?
Just listen, Smo, right? Like I was gonna hit him, right? And I was trying, and I originally wanted to hit him off the bat, but I was telling myself, I said, yo, he's Black, he's ignorant, he doesn't know better, right? Yeah. So I just said, so once I was able to say he's acting this way for a certain, he needs something, then I was able to take a step back and not hit him. And then because I did that and he felt the energy, right? He said to me, yo, my name Rock, and gave me dap. I was like, Omar. And then that was it, right? And then he went about his business. I went about my business, and we were able to exist in the same space together. You know what I mean? But if I would have just jumped on him, we would have never gotten there. You know what I mean? So if you just take the time to have empathy and understand what someone's going through, or what they're dealing with, especially your own, I think we'll be much farther in the game.
I think so. So empathy. So
yes.
Are there any... My homegirl said his name would be Rock. That's kind of scary. I'm not arguing with nobody in this pandemic. Stay over there. Please stay over there.
Yeah, but it's different from men. It's different from men. Like, we got the testosterone pumping. Like, we in the park. You're like, you're not going to do that to me. And he's feeling like you're not going to do that to me. And then I was like, something's off with this guy. You know what I mean? So then, but once we both stated our claim and we knew what it was, so then it was a back then. But I understand because he's a dude who's off.
So the first reaction is not the best reaction all the time?
No, it's not. It's not. Because you're acting off of emotion or instinct, you know what I mean, opposed to logic.
Okay. So are there any other things that we can look out for you moving forward?
I don't know if it's gonna come out, but I did something on for Netflix last year, and it was supposed to be dropping this year, but I can't talk about it until it drops because it's on the NDA.
Okay, but no, we will be looking forward. We'll be looking out for it. I'll definitely post it when it comes.
Yeah, I have two things actually. That's supposed to. One is a movie, and then one was on a series. So we'll see. I'm hoping that it gets going soon. But then these production things, it probably be 2 years when I pop off on something else, then that comes up. So we'll see. Shit.
Okay, so I'm happy that you are staying safe and your little incident.
I'm
social distancing, keeping the hand sanitizing, the mask is there, working out, getting your mind right, getting your spirit right. I don't know if you follow this woman on Instagram. Her name is the Hood Healer. And she always says, get your spirit right, get your spirit right. Like we're going to be going through whatever this is longer than we actually want to believe, because we're so anxious to get back to whatever this normal is that we were all living. But honestly, that it was kind of whack how we were all living. I mean, for
It
me,
was.
I needed this. I
Me
just had
too.
a baby. I needed this. I had just had a baby,
I
and
saw. Congrats.
I was just over it. Like I was like maybe one more write up from getting fired if I showed up late again because I'm dropping both kids off in different directions and then flying to the train and then flying to
Yeah.
work and then getting to work and being overexhausted and going, oh my God. And
Yeah.
I kept saying, God, I just need something to happen. This is what I said this moment when the pandemic happened. I was like, oh shit. I was
Yeah.
like, God, please, like, I just need a rest. I need like a break. I need to be able to stay home and get my full check and be home with my kids.
And look what happened. You caused this pandemic.
And the pandemic
You
said,
caused.
we're
You
shutting
caused it.
down everything. I was like, oh, snap. No, I
Hold
would
on.
never want anybody to get sick and die, but this has been
Yeah.
crazy.
All right. That's what you asked for.
I swear to God, all I just said is, God, please, I just want to stay home and collect my check. I kept saying, I just want to work from home. I just want to work from home every day. I just want to work from home. I just want to be able to get up from out the room and just come out here and work. I've been
Yeah.
working from home since April. This is no joke with these kids yelling and running around here. But I'm
Yeah.
grateful, and I really
Yeah.
don't. I honestly don't want the world to open up because I'm really not ready to go outside. Honestly,
Yeah.
not in that way. Even though I was outside, but I don't want to go outside like that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I am, but then I'm not. I appreciated this peace of mind and this time. I
Yeah.
know my daughter's probably going through it. She wants to go back to school, but it definitely was a minute. I think everything needed to be put on pause.
Yeah.
Come
I
on.
agree. I agree.
Well, I definitely appreciate you. I'm so happy I popped your live cherry.
Yeah. I know. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy you came on me. You agreed like last minute. Like it's been so hard trying to get people to come on the show. And I figure like we're all home. You should just want to pop in. Everyone's not comfortable with this type of
Yeah.
interaction and comments kind of flying up and down. So I definitely do appreciate you. And thank you
Yeah.
so
I
much
didn't
for
see the
doing
comment
this with me.
myself.
Well, that's perfect because some people get stuck on the comments as they're
Yeah.
coming up. So thank you.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I guess we'll be looking forward to whatever else you got going on. And I guess keep me posted so I can definitely post it and we can all support you.
Will do. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Night. Night.